Hello, everybody, and we are talking to you live from the Aventura Corporate Center in sunny South Florida, and my partner in crime, Dr. David Solomon in Montreal, Quebec. And today we are happy to be here for an unabridged 15-minute rant on the topic of media bias, narrative bias. Media and showing COVID-19, $1.9 trillion in the United States as a bailout. But the differences between the two medias. David, I think I spoke to you a few minutes before we got on this rant about the concept of what we're going to talk about. You have Fox News on the right and you have CNN on the left. I'm using the opposite hands here. And using these two media networks as an example, because there's many more networks. I mean, there's many more podcasters. There's many more news agencies that, fall on the left or the right of an aisle, far more on the left. But however, I think this is an interesting topic. So the example is the $1.9 trillion. David, you're up in Canada. Have you heard about it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so what is the first thing you hear about this trillion-dollar bail for COVID-19 is that $1.9 trillion is for COVID-19 to give $1,600, $1,400, $2,000 to every single American. Did the Canadian government give you anything, David?
The Canadian government offered people, in a different program. We call it the CERB program, but that's months ago.
Okay, so the U.S. government, and that's now President Biden and Kamala Harris, are going to give every American between $1,400 and $2,000. And they're going to pass this bill through a process that isn't bipartisan. They control the Democrats, all three branches of government, right? Needing a majority by using Kamala Harris, but nevertheless, they control all three branches. And in this process, you think that all of this $1.9 trillion is for what purpose, David?
Oh, it should be to help the people.
Right. It should all go for COVID relief. So, many years ago, they tried to get away from pork. Now, I don't eat pork. I don't like pork. I think pigs look cute. Maybe when they're puppies or little piglets, but everyone likes Charlotte's Web. Piglet was a cute character. Winnie the Pooh's Piglet was a cute guy, but pig and pork, when we talk about finance and government, is not a good thing. I mean, it's just really not good. Like there's like $200 million for libraries. Mm-hmm. They want to put a
hold on a second. Hold on. What does it mean? $200 million to libraries. What is being put in here? Do you know?
No, they don't tell you that. No, $200 million for libraries.
Okay.
But there's another good one. What does a metro system in Silicon Valley have to do with COVID-19? David, do you know?
Listen, in theory, if you put in a metro system, you've got jobs, you've got people working. In theory.
Right, but it's COVID-19. So are you allowed to run in underground in an enclosed, encapsulated air system with other people and, continue the spread of COVID? I mean, would an underground system be a worthwhile investment for COVID-19?
You know what? I can argue both sides of it, but I guess the optics are a little bit weird.
So I got another one. Do you know they want to do a bridge between New York and Canada?
Really?
Part of COVID-19.
Infrastructure projects are a good thing, Stuart. Infrastructure projects has traditionally, look at post-depression, after every economic downturn, infrastructure projects is a great stimulus.
But shouldn't they call it an infrastructure project, not COVID-19?
If you're going to call it what it really should be called, you're 100% right. Then either you envelop the whole thing under a COVID recovery plan. There's the personal, there's the business, there's the employment plan. But burying all these things in a bill and not being overt and transparent about it, I think that's bad government. And to your point, the media is just letting it slide.
When you watch Fox News, they lead with all this pork. And when you watch CNN, they lead with all of the money that they're giving to the people and not talking about the pork.
Yeah, but now you're talking about what I talked about on Friday,
Mhm.
which is that you can't trust media. Well, let me try that again. You can't trust national broadcasters anymore because they're agenda based and they're not looking for the truth. They're looking for the conflict. They're looking for the the way to generate ratings and arguments and oh look, I can get more people watching me because I'm talking about something that's pissing off the other side. It's not about the fact. We're not fact finding like we used to in media. And I said that on Friday, which is why I have a really hard time believing anybody anymore. I have to do a lot of homework to find the truth. I don't want to read an entire bill to find out what's really in there. That's the media's job. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I was just trying to Google while I was talking to you how many pages the COVID-19 relief bill, just to see how many pages relief bill. Just to see how many pages this bill is. It's more than 5,000 pages.
Of course it is. Any
Wow.
form of any legislation is going to take tremendous verbiage, time, effort, lawyers, politicians, you name it. I mean, if you're going to pass $1.9 trillion, do you expect anything less?
You're right. There is a problem. I'm going to share this on the screen with everyone so we can
But
just talk about
yeah,
what
but for
we're
me,
doing.
the issue, Stuart, but for me, the issue, and what you're bringing up here, is burying burying in a bill stuff to pass it through is ugly, and it leads to another layer of mistrust of government and media. It's again, it's look at what's going on. People are walking away, are just like the faith that they have is just dissipating. I'm sorry, it's just I'm not. I've lost faith in the national media. I've lost faith in all sides because I don't think they're telling the truth. And here's a proof of examples. Like if we're going to bury in a bill stuff, but we're going to wrap it around a beautiful bow called COVID-19 relief. Who are we blaming, man? Who are we going after? Who's accountable for this?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, look, I just brought it up here. I mean, this is an older version. The COVID-19 retail is part of a bill that's more than 5,000 pages long. It says lack of transparency. I mean, I just don't get it. Why do people insist that what they're showing is truth? Like, where is the truth in this? I just don't get it. Why can't people just be honest? Say, hey, I want to do this. I want to give every American a dollar. And I want to give why are we talking more about the teachers? The first responders, doctors, they got their thing all set up, nurses, they got all set up, but last time I checked, you can't go to work without a, road system. You can't, live without a food. So the trucking system. Then you got the kids in school so that we can go to work, called the teacher system. So, like, I'd love to know how $1.9 trillion that's supposed to help people. And I agree that, yes, structural projects are extremely important to get people back to work in a recession or depression. Isn't our economy at an all-time high, even though that we're all being restricted, David?
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
so infrastructure projects are phenomenal. Did we just not cancel a pipeline?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we canceled the pipeline. Do you know why we canceled the pipeline?
Sure.
Because they say it's not for clean energy. So the barrel of oil, which again, the left shows one part, the right shows another. Do you know the barrel of oil would cost $16 of carbon emissions versus $46 of carbon emissions?
But you're back to optics. You're back to optics. You're talking about, and again, it's where the media, and why I have a hard time with the faith of the media, is the media is looking at the optic of it and saying, "Oh, this looks bad. When President Trump put it in and agreed to do the Keystone pipeline, optically it was bad because it was going to be bad for the environment. Did anybody look into it, research into it? No, they didn't, because
Oh no, it had the
it
word
was about
Trump in it.
optics.
It had the word Trump in it.
Okay, but it's about the optics. And now here we are. President Biden cancels the contract because he's all in favor about the environment, and you hear what he's saying about going back to all of the organizations that President Trump, removed himself from, removed the United States from, and whatever. It's about optics. Did anybody really go in deep and say, well, wait a second, before you go do this, Mr. Biden, let's check again. Really, is the Keystone Project what we say it is? Or are we just appeasing to a certain populace? Are you going back to the Tokyo Accords, about the environment? Is this a good thing, or are we back to optics? Yesterday, Bill Gates was interviewed and was asked about, why is 2050 your deadline to remove emissions? Why isn't it 2030? And he says 2030 is not realistic. And he says, well, your critics are telling you you're not doing it right. And he said, guys, it's unrealistic to put a goal in 9 years that's going to really take us 20 or 30 years. So critics be damned. And he's sitting there, and he's not a politician, he's a businessman, and he sat there and he said, critics be damned. He does not looking at the optics. But when you're talking about what you just said, stimulus bills, infrastructure, all this, it's all about optics. And if the media would do their homework, like they did with Watergate, like they've done with other things, and dug deep, I would then trust them. I just don't trust them today because they're refusing to, because they just want to deal with optics.
I can't agree more. I mean, there is no more. I think anyone that I talk to that says I get my source from, and you hear the regurgitation of either CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, CNET, C-SPAN. I mean, it's just like, really? So what are the facts and what was editorial? Like, editorial is not news. And you used to be a news guy. You worked for a paper. They produced newspapers. And you used to have a defined editorial section of a newspaper. Remember? It used to be the front page, which is what the issues were. And then you had the editorial section, which it could have been paragraphs. But the news should be factual, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you pull up a news network, a station? Can I pull up CNN and see that there is anything that's news? Or
but Stuart, but Stuart, you're going to say the same. I'm sorry to say, and my inclination. Everybody's guilty. I don't care if you're Fox. I don't care if you're CNN. Just because they're more liberal national broadcasters doesn't make them any more wrong or more right. But across the board, this is agenda-based media. This is agenda-based. And that's why if President Biden or the Democrats were to put out a bill, Fox is likely to go rip it up more than a CNN and MSNBC. When the Senate was controlled by the Republicans, it was the liberal media that went after the Senate. There is no clear-cut, neutral, middle-of-the-road media delivery anymore. And you're showing me the Fox News website, and I'm fully aware of that, and I'm fully aware of CNN, and that's why I said on Friday, I feel like I live in two different worlds. It's not the same world. I'm not in a world where I could say, here are the facts that I can rely upon, because they don't exist. Because the media, where's the incentive for the media to report the facts? It's not there anymore. If you go to community newspapers, which is, everybody is this, I have more faith in the local paper, not because I worked in there, not because of my relationships there, but when I pick up a local newspaper, it's the fact. Because you're not creating, there's no sensationalism here. You pick up a CNN.com and FoxNews.com, it's sensationalism, period.
David, I've changed the colors because we have reached our 15 minutes. And you know what? In that final statement, I'm just going to end with this. And David, please bear with me. Guys, David and I started this whole thing to try and bring some truth and transparency. Thank you for tuning in for these 15 minutes. I hope it's been somewhat enjoyable. If you have any comments, please add them to whatever site you see these ads on, and stay true to form. If you got a topic, rant at therantnetwork.com. Ping us, email us, message us. We'll get back to you. Guys, signing off. Have a great day. Take care. And once again,